Hello. I come to you now in a minor state of panic on account of the fact that I have had such a busy night that I was 2 steps away from my bed before I remembered that I said I was going to record one today. Now I'm not that tired on account of adequately caffeinating myself for the tasks that I had laid before me much earlier in the night. But I'm certainly in need of rest. Regardless, I am here. Hello. It finally rained today. Now unfortunately it was later in the evening while the sun was going down that it finally just started to rain. And even more unfortunately, I was trapped inside of my workplace for the duration of the sunlight hours of rainfall. A shame. I did, however, take a break and just walked around the parking lot in the rain, no umbrella. I didn't take off my shoes because my work boots are a pain to take on and off. And I didn't want my socks to get wet. But I did enjoy the rain. And it was still raining when I drove home. I don't know when it stopped, but it was sometime hours ago, before the sun came up, because the ground's already dry outside. I'm hoping that this will mean half the trees in the neighbourhood that have looked dead for the last few weeks will finally start budding. That's only time will tell. I had a realization a few days ago. Well, not that long ago, it was the other day, while thinking about a part of a video. It's an animated video, quite long, that follows a sort of meta-narrative around the YouTube channel of an animator. The type of animations this creator had made revolved around using characters from other games, all animated within Source Filmmaker, which, if you don't know what that is, I don't know what to tell you. It's a program that can animate, but it's built for video games specifically. Either way, the animator had started when he was quite young, so all of his videos were very cringy and poorly animated and based around his own ideas of pre-established characters, and a lot of the videos were very, very bad or very of the time, and his opinion of everything he's made prior to recent years has soured. So he made a short film following a meta-narrative based around the one character he has that he actually likes, that's an original character, sort of existing to represent how he feels about his YouTube channel and his old videos. I've gone on a tangent about this thing. Either way, it's very meaningful to him, and understanding what it means to him has given me an appreciation of it, and an appreciation of his old, terrible animations. But it made me realize something. I have been painfully self-aware for a very long time. I think by the age of like 14 I had realized that everything that I am is cringe, and I should stop being the way that I am and stop making the things that I like to make because it's cringe and I don't like it now. And because of that, I've drifted away from hobbies. I've never really made OCs or done any creative writing or anything of that nature. Fan fiction is something I've stayed very clear of for that reason. But it makes me wonder, if I wasn't so self-aware and painfully anxious about how others view me, or how I view myself, would I be a more interesting person, making more interesting content? Like, what this is right now is sanitary. Odd way to put it, but it's the word that came to mind. There's no non-standard inflection to the way I make these things. There's no crazy anything or theming or character or extravagance to it. It's just me and my voice. Well, I am my voice, right? It's me talking about normal things normally. Sometimes I play the guitar a little bit and I make the backgrounds, but the backgrounds themselves aren't very contrived or convoluted or contain a story. It's hard to draw anything or point out anything wrong or cringe or special about what I'm doing beyond my own words. So it came to my mind that I could have a more interesting, though more cringe version of myself would have taken my love for science fiction and recontextualized this thing as a like captain's log or something like that, like a space adventurer out on a long journey, like captain's log number. I think this one's 18, on video 18 now. Yeah, so it'd be like captain's log number 18, and then I would take the things from my daily life and misconstrue them in a manner to make them fit a sci-fi setting, though still providing the carefully picking what I change to still provide the same meaning to my words. It would have been a lot more of a creative thing to do. And part of me wants to do it, right? But the other part of me wouldn't be able to stand its existence. The other part of me would be so upset at hearing his own voice attached to something so judgeable. I'm beginning to think this is a major character flaw of mine. I'm judgmental of others, but most of all I'm judgmental of myself, I guess. If I was a therapist, that's probably how I would put it. There are some things that I have been able to get around, like singing. For the most part, I used to cringe at whenever I heard my own voice singing, but I've come to accept it for what it is. And my own talking voice I can take at face value nowadays. Even my own drawings, sometimes, I can accept them for what they are. It's weird though, right? It's weird looking at old pictures of oneself. It's when you look at old pictures of friends and old art from friends, you may think like, oh, same quality, right? You maintain the same positive perception of it that you had from the get-go. But when you look at your own old things, at least when I do, you just cringe, right? Like, I looked at my fashion sense from 5 years ago, 4 years ago, even 3 years ago, and any pictures I have of myself, my outfit is trash. It's just not good. Like, I wouldn't be caught dead wearing that outfit. Same with my art. Though, at least for my 3D art, there's much less of a cringe factor because I can understand completely where the growth came from and how I got from there to here and what I didn't know that changed that. I can see the so-called steps on the ladder, which makes me not cringe so much. Right? To be cringe is to be free, some say. This night has been long because I agreed to have something done by Monday, a work thing, unrelated to my regular job, but to my other job. And I realised when I went to bed last night, and I was so tired, that Monday would come after work, like only a few hours after I got off work, and I went into a little bit of a panic because they wanted a draft by 6 a.m. I get off work at 11, so I had from 11ish, probably later, to 6 a.m. to make a draft and get it done. And it's incredibly hard for me to build up momentum after a tiring work day. So I was quite panicked, and I double panicked because the night before, when I had remembered that Monday comes after Sunday, instead of sleeping properly, I stayed up for several hours watching the first 3 episodes of the HBO Chernobyl series. I've always had a fascination with Chernobyl as a place. Hard to say more on that. It's just an interest of mine. Radiation as a thing, right, is interesting to me in a scientific sense, but also interesting in an archaic sense. Like, I don't know how long we've been able to mine uranium, but there was probably some medieval person somewhere, like a peasant or a knight, who came upon some or something like it in the wild, and to them, without the scientific instruments and tools and knowledge we carried with us at the time those things were discovered, as well as the work of scientists like Marie Curie. To those medieval people, it was probably just the rock that kills you. Like, there's no other way to see it. It's the rock that makes you sick, and it's the rock that kills you. Anyway, HBO Chernobyl, very interesting, frightening. Probably shouldn't have watched episode 3 before going to bed because it was quite gory and a little disturbing, well, very disturbing, but yeah, that set me back during my work day. So after work I had to chug tea and coffee and cross my fingers that any of it would kick in before 6 a.m, which it did, and I got it done. But now we're here at 8 a.m. recording this. It's even funnier because on the drive home from work I said, oh, I'll record it before I start trying to work on the documents. That way it'll be out of the way, and as soon as I'm done, I can go to bed. But no, I forgot. I believe I promised I'd do a guitar bit in this one as well. Still haven't picked out a song, but I think I'll do it on the acoustic today. Yeah. On the subject of songs, something I've been wondering to myself, or considering, is sharing my pocket recordings. Occasionally, on nights where I'm a bit emotional, or nights where there's something on my mind, I will put down the phone, start recording, and pick up the guitar and play and ad-lib lyrics until it becomes something of a song. This is typically how I write songs, but through this method they tend to be a bit personal and a bit trash. So to post them here or anywhere is not something I've been doing. I have one friend who I send them to for critiques, one of my bandmates. But beyond that, sending it to anyone else, like, look at this thing I made, when it's just something I recorded in however long the playback of it is, it'd be too embarrassing, really. But if that's something anyone's interested in, maybe I'll put them up somewhere, just as a central place for them to all be. It's a hard thing, this. It's very self-serving, right? And to be self-serving to an audience feels narcissistic, right? Like, I come on to the video and I talk about myself, or what's happened to me, or how I'm doing, me, right? When I could be and should be asking how you're doing, right? It's only fair. You come to listen, I should listen through some means as well. It's not an absolutely one-way street, right? But it's hard to ask when it's not a seamless conversation, or a conversation of any, for that matter. And it feels wrong to ask the same question to dozens of people who could be listening. But I will ask a question I was asked earlier today by a friend. And that question is, what's your favourite bird? For me, it's the blue jay. I love its vibrant coat. And we get many of them in my backyard. But favourite bird? What is it? Comment. Tell me what your favourite bird is. I feel like I'm interrogating now. Like, I demand you tell me what your favourite bird is. Silly. Anyway, I don't want to go over 30 minutes with this one, or much further than 30 minutes, because the longer the recording, the longer the render, the longer before I can go to bed. So I think I'm going to do the guitar bit now. Pretty please, oh, where do I begin? Oh, I don't understand it either, and I don't think I can. Fuzzy brain, call it what you want. I felt so distant lately, as if I were not. Rain outside, steady winter. My heart feels like such a mixture, shapeless. I stare at her picture out of nowhere, but I miss her. Why, oh why, such thing. Write it down, absent of the pen. The sun has been set for hours, and she's rising again. Scattered minds, I call it a friend. I wish I thought a bit less and spoke up instead. In my head, it's rain outside, a skeleton frame, a hurricane within my ribcage. I never left, I never stayed. I'm cleaning out the fires in my brain, time and time again. Has gotten a bit hoarse on account of not having any water at my desk. Dayglow, as an artist, has it's hard to describe. He's had a very interesting career. Well, interesting but uneventful. He started posting music online straight out of high school, and I believe he filmed the music videos for some of his biggest songs while in high school. And in his extremely short career, he's released 4 albums, which is a lot more than any band would, and he's a one-man show. It's just him. He's very impressive as an artist, and very honest, so much so that he releases videos on his YouTube channel where he shows you the files for all of his biggest songs whenever they drop, and shows you how he made them, just screen sharing the DAW he's using and being like, yes, I chose this with this plugin and this filter because I wanted it to sound like this, and here's how it sounds with it and without it. And it's such an honest way to do what he does. He's given anybody the tools to make music like he does. He's shown everybody how to do what he does, and nobody does it quite like him, despite that. His first album came to me at an interesting time in my life, and I wrote it off. There was one song on it I really liked in 2020, but I sort of just disregarded the whole album after listening through it once. But there is not a single song on that album I wouldn't highly recommend at this point. And his second album is one of my favourite albums ever of all time. I love listening through the whole thing in one go, and his best song is off of that album, that second album. His third album is not something I vibe with all that much, but there are some good songs on there, and his fourth album is very, very honest to him, with the first song on the album being the first song he ever posted online. Yeah, Dago's a very good artist. Singing songs on here as I do sort of highlights and demonstrates a coping mechanism that I've developed to cope with the fact that I don't particularly like the sound of my own voice, especially when singing. It's that cringe thing I was talking about earlier. And I've leaned out of it a bit over the years, but my singing, for the most part, for a lot of the time I have been singing, has just been me trying to mimic, to the best of my ability, the voice of whoever is singing in whatever song I'm trying to sing to. And when I got the most practice in was during high school, when I would come home from school and I would clean the kitchen with the speakers on really loud and then sing as loud as I wanted while I did the dishes. And the artists I trained my voice to were Mark Foster of Foster the People, who has a very strange inflection to his vocals. There isn't anybody that sounds like him, and he gets quite falsetto and high in a lot of his singing. So that took a while to adapt to, but now my voice is adapted to that. The other artists are the Julian Casablancas of The Strokes, who honestly most of the time his vocals aren't that interesting, but he is extremely talented with the subtleties in his performances. And lastly, though it hasn't been highlighted here yet, I was once told by my teacher that I do an exceptional impression of Alex Turner from the Arctic Monkeys. Like, I sound just like him when I sing their songs. Maybe one day I'll demonstrate that, but as well as being an exceptional vocalist, Alex Turner is an exceptional guitarist, and all of his songs are relatively hard to play and sing at the same time, and not a lot of them are quiet enough to play on this channel. Maybe I'll find one to adapt, but it'll be a bit... Anyway, as always, if anybody has suggestions, please comment and I will take them into consideration. I said I didn't want to go much past 30 minutes, but here we are. If you're listening to this in the morning, as I'm recording this in the morning, I hope you have a good day. If you're listening to this at night trying to fall asleep, put on something a little more relaxing. If you're already asleep, I'm sorry. And that's it. Good night. I will see you all, let's say Wednesday. Yeah. Bye-bye.